Well, from wherever you're watching us from, welcome to KUTV Weekend Live. We have more in store for you, including the new details that are emerging from the IEBC commissioners in regards to the petition filed at the Supreme Court challenging the President-elect William Ruto. More details about that, but before that, here are the highlights. Mother's plea for her daughter's remains to be brought back in the country for interment from Saudi Arabia. Raila assures United Nations boss of peaceful resolution in a case filed at the Supreme Court. And Chebukati was not open enough during the election process, now says IEBC Deputy Chair Juliana Cherera. And warning notice issued to doctors in Kericho County by new governor over absconding of duties. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm BENTURA KWAMBOKA. And Monica Adhiambo from Mombasa County is pleading for her daughter's body to be brought back to the country for interment from Saudi Arabia, where she died. Grace Atieno, who is the deceased, went to the Arabian nation on 23rd of March this year before having ill health a month in her job. She died after what the family says it was neglect that led to her demise on 21st of April this year. Listen.
A distraught, teary-eyed Monica Adhiambo, mother of Grace Atieno, who died in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, April this year, is appealing to the government to unravel the mysterious death of her daughter 3 months after landing in Saudi Arabia, where she was working as a domestic worker.
Kwa Saudia, amlete mwanangu angalau tu nimzike. Josephine, nakuomba male ulipo, kana roho ya mzazi. Nilete mwanangu nimzike.
Monica, a Mombasa resident, blames the Kenyan government, the Saudi Arabia embassy, and Samoline Recruitment Agency, the company that contracted Atieno, for letting her down in her bid to get the body of her child. Atieno went to Saudi Arabia on 23rd March this year, and after working for a month, she fell ill, experiencing severe stomach pains, but she was not attended to until she died in anguish on 21st April. Before her death, she sent a video to the family in Kenya, where she was pleading to be brought back to the country for treatment, but Josephine Murioki, the director of Samolin, who also took her to Saudi Arabia, refused to bring her back.
Aliniambia juzi baada ya mwezi miwili eti sasa ni corona. Ndio ilikuwa imefanya serikali ikashikilia mwili wa mtoto wangu ndio isiletwe Kenya. Sasa corona inajulikana baada ya mwezi miwili. Kabla hajakufa Josephine aliniambia mwanangu amefanywa operation. Operation inafanywa juu ya corona wa jameni. Corona inaweza fanya mtoto.
Nimejaribu kumail Minister of Foreign Affairs, nimemail consular. Lakini the funny thing, wanakuja kurespond kwangu after nimesha mail karibu mara 5. Ndio unakuja kurespond, wanasema kwamba ni COVID matter. COVID matter inachukua 3 months ndio ikue you realize ni COVID matter.
Josephine is alleged to have demanded money from her mother so as to bring her back. Muslims for Human Rights Organization, popularly known as Muhuri, has been following the case since it was reported at their Mombasa offices in April, and it says that their efforts have borne no fruits and they might head to the courts.
Sisi kama Muhuri hatuna option yetu sasa ni kuangalia legal intervention. Ni kama tutamshauri mama twende kotini, na vile vile tutaangalia ni jinsi gani, hata kama kuleta maandamano tutachukuana na familia tuende kwa embassy ya Saudi Arabia Nairobi, na vile vile Foreign Affairs tupige kambi to make sure mtoto huyu amerudi.
All that Monica Adhiambo and her family is demanding is that they get their kin's body for burial and that the government investigates the circumstances surrounding Grace Atieno's death. Mutweri Eliud for KU.
Well, we hope that family will be able to get help from the embassy. And now a fuel tanker transporting 34,000 liters of diesel overturned at Kamandura in Limuru, Kiambu County on course from Nairobi to Mai Mahiu. The accident caused a traffic snarl-up on the Kamandura-Mai Mahiu road. Locals rushed to the scene with jerrycans to siphon fuel from the tanker moments after the accident occurred, but were later repulsed by police who rushed to the scene to control the situation, preventing rather any impending danger.
Hiyo inasababisha ajali mingi sana na barabara ni nyembamba. Ni barabara ya kuanzia hapa barabara mbili kuanzia ya highway kwenda Mai Mahiu, barabara inakuanga ni narrow. Hata ukijaribu kutesa kidogo itakuwa imemeka accident. Ili wasiroe down. Hali ya hewa ni mbaya saa hii. Hali ya hewa ni mbaya, kama inawezekana wao wana travel usiku. Gari kama hizi za kubeba mizigo ya pesa mingi. Si travel usiku, sinaenda mchana.
And Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga has held discussions with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres over the disputed presidential elections. Substantiating the statement, Odinga affirmed today he held a telephone conversation with Mr. Guterres where he assured the UN boss of his commitment to following the due and legal process to address his grievances over the election's outcome. The United Nations Secretary General is, however, impressed with the manner in which the Azimio team had conducted itself despite disputing the presidential results announced by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
Mr. Guterres called me to talk to me about the developments in our country, in the region generally. I briefed him about what has happened in our country, the outcome of our general elections, and the processes that we have initiated to get a satisfactory solution to this problem.
And in protest of Ugenya legislature David Ochieng's decision to ditch the Azimio coalition for Kenya Kwanza, residents vented their anger at the Ugenya Constituency Development Fund offices in Sega Town, which they vandalized the group which was shouting that the legislature had let them down by his decision yesterday. Quick action by the police saved the legislator's home from suspected arsonists who wanted to set it ablaze.
And I'm urging our people of Nyanza, please know your leaders. Know your leaders. When we were telling you that MDG and UDM was good parties, some of you refused to agree. Today you can acknowledge that indeed MDG and UDM were parties that were belonging to one man in Sugoi.
We want to warn David Ochieng that his days are numbered, and that if he has chosen out of his own volition to go to Kenya Kwanza, we want to remind the people of Kenya, and specifically William Ruto, that he has not acquired any following by allowing David Ochieng to be in his party.
And more revelations continue to unravel in relations to the August 9th presidential polls petition, with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Vice Chair Juliana Cherera filing a response to the petition filed by Azimio Coalition challenging the outcome of the presidential election, where Deputy President William Ruto was declared winner in a rather tight race with Raila Odinga. Cherera is listed as the fifth respondent in that particular petition.
In an affidavit filed before the Supreme Court on Friday, Cherera claimed that IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati constantly ignored her alongside Commissioners Justice Nyagaya, Francis Wanderi and Irene Masit when they sought to verify the results prior to the official announcement of the said contest at Bomas of Kenya. Cherera pointed out that her boss Chairman Wafula Chebukati further ignored the electoral body's protocol and acted individually when he announced the presidential election result on August 15, 2022. The commissioner claimed that Chebukati unilaterally transferred the returning officers without consulting fellow commissioners, failure to complete the recruitment of Director of Voter Registration and Director of Election, failure to convene a meeting to apprise Commission on the implementation of the recommendation of the report on the independent audit of register of voters by KPMG, issuing unilaterally press statement without consultation, surpassing the role of the chairperson, Commission Legal Committee, IECT Committee and Deputy CEO. She charged Chebukati with rushing the procurement of election material prior to the commission being completely established in September 2021, further diverging that even though only one Form 34A was required to be used for recording the presidential result at the polling centers, two sets of Form 34A were printed, a realization she allegedly came to realize during her visit to the ballot printing contractor in Greece. She and Co-Commissioner Francis Wanderu were told that orders had been given for the printing of the extra sets.
The lodging of the petition.
The submissions are expected to aid into the determination of the presidential petition by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition that highlighted the Electoral Commission IEBC alongside its commissioners as persons of interest in the general election polls they tend to prove was marred with managerial and irregularities. Auma Evans for KUTV, Nairobi.
And still on the same matters, Justice Nyangaya, who is part of the four dissenting IEBC commissioners, who disowned presidential election results announced by the commission's chair Wafula Chebukati, filed his individual response to the petition challenging the results. Nyangaya claims that a foreigner and 3 IEBC staff members intercepted Form 34As in the electoral body's portal and changed the results. And new developments continue to stream in regards to the 3 Venezuelans who were arrested at the JKIA by authorities in possession of IEBC materials. The police had established the 3, Salvador Xavier Suarez Jose, Gregorio Camergo Castellino, and Joela Gustavo Rodriguez Garcia, were constantly communicating with the IEBC that the materials they had was lawfully assigned to them. And now, with the presidential petition in questions, more is popping up concerning the 3.
Salvador Javier Suarez, Jose Gregorio Camargo Castellano, and Joel Gustavo Rodriguez Garcia, the 3 Venezuelan nationals who are allegedly employees of Smartic International BV, were put behind bars upon arrival at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport from Venezuela in possession of election materials. 1 terabyte external disk, 1 laptop, 6 flash drives, 3 mobile phones, 1 tablet, 1 SIM card, and 1 monitor. The laptop and 1 TB external disk were found with an IEBC database schematic diagram, IEBC network diagram, IEBC KIMS kit, IEBC KIMS kit deployment list, username and passwords, local IP addresses, configurations, and virtual private network settings. According to IEBC Commissioner Irene Masit, in a response to the presidential election petition filed, the commission boss Wafula Chebukati did not make it known to them that the foreigners would be jetting in with the election material, which she says the commission was not even expecting at the time. The Electoral Commission's Vice Chairperson, Juliana Cherera, in her affidavit, noted that Chebukati did not consult them while making comments on the arrest of the 3 Venezuelans. Mobile devices recovered from the foreigners had phone contacts, call logs of IEBC employees, service providers, technical teams from Safaricom, Telcom Kenya, Airtel Kenya, and Thuraya. While the Electoral and Boundaries Commission maintains that the 3 were in the country to execute a lawful contract relating to the deployment of technology in elections, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations held that the 3 did not bear any letter or documentation indicating that they were invited by the Commission.
Well, thank you, Samson, for that report. And that story takes us for a commercial break here at KUTV. Remember to follow us on our social media pages at KUTV_Kenya. That and much more to come.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits, the road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane, keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Giving a business an identity through the use of technology is our topic of today's episode.
I'll talk for Develop For Me. We take your problem personally. For example, if you have a marketing issue, we make sure that you make sales.
One of the services that we offer is the payment integration. We also have the apps and website business. And then is the corporate branding, where Nick is one of the best designers we have in the company. He uses a lot of tools to do it.
The percentage in which government is giving opportunities to this specific type of groups under the AGPO, like what percentage has the government given?
No, but like I said, you see, when a budget is done for every year, every ministry will be able to place their budget for it. But whatever is given to them, 30% of the budget for that ministry is dedicated to AGPO. 30%. So if let's assume, for instance, that a ministry is given 2 billion, for instance. Now, 30% of 2 billion would be about 600,000? 600 million. That will be dedicated to AGPO. And therefore, when you go to a ministry, as a young person, as a person living with disability, 600 million is actually meant for you.
This is The Agenda with BENTURA KWAMBOKA and Colonel Retired Cyrus Oguna.
Welcome back. This is KU TV Primetime News. And IBC Commissioner Abdi Guliye has filed an affidavit at the Supreme Court in regards to the contested 2022 presidential win. In his affidavit, Guliye has mentioned the National Security Advisory Committee, Raphael Tuju and Amos Wako, of attempting to force the commission to declare Raila Odinga president-elect or force a rerun in the August 9 polls. In an affidavit, IBC Commissioner Abdi Guliye claims that the National Security Advisory Committee warned IBC Chair Wafula Chebukati not to declare William Ruto as the president-elect. According to the affidavit, the principal administrative secretary in the office of the president, Kennedy Kihara, asked Chebukati not to declare Ruto president-elect, further advising a runoff be announced as the final result. Guliye further documents that a meeting was convened by the seven in view of the security advisory, where he claims the split among them began. CEO Marjan allegedly walked in the final results and handed a copy to all the commissioners, and the 4 commissioners protested and insisted the results should be changed in the light of the National Security Advisory Committee communications. In the affidavit responding to Raila Odinga's petition challenging the presidential poll results, Guliye further diverged that IBC Chair Wafula Chebukati met a host of leaders affiliated with Azimio la Umoja coalition on the morning of the day the presidential results were declared, among them Raphael Tuju, Senator Amos Wako and Advocate Kialo Mbob. Tuju, on his part, allegedly told the commission that it was necessary for the results to be moderated in Raila's favor. According to Gulie, Waku called for a consideration of the link between the election results being declared and the stability of the country, which he described as the bigger picture. Gulie alleged that the commission's vice chair, Juliana Cherera, wanted to subvert the final tally by slashing Ruto's vote by 233,211, so that neither of the two leading presidential candidates managed to secure the 50% plus one threshold. IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati declared Ruto the president-elect with 7.1 million votes against Odinga 6.9 million votes. And Wafula Chebukati announced his own presidential result on August 15th. That is the declaration of IEBC Commissioner Francis Wanderi in an affidavit filed at the Supreme Court. The commissioner accused the body's chair, Wafula Chebukati, of functioning unilaterally in the determination of the August 15th presidential results.
IEBC Commissioner Francis Wanderi, who has been listed as the 7th respondent in the petition filed by Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, says in his affidavit that the results declared by his boss in the commission, Wafula Chebukati, did not receive an approval by all commissioners. Wanderi says Chebukati usurped their constitutional role of verifying and tallying results and went ahead to announce the presidential election winner without following the due procedure. He details a meeting of the 7 hours to the final announcement of the 15th of August, whose agenda was to discuss how the errors noticed in some Form 34As and Bs will be corrected before the final announcement. Wanderi revealed in his sworn affidavit, and I quote, "Between 1:20 p.m. and 4:20 p.m., Chebukati, while constantly walking in and out of the boardroom, kept us waiting and eventually walked back into the boardroom and read to us his own final results." End of quote. Would soon after leave the premises and headed to the Nairobi Serena Hotel, where they disowned the presidential poll results during a press briefing. Joseph Oyomo, KU TV.
Thank you, Joseph, for that. And away from that, into education matters, Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha has commissioned Phase 2 CBC classrooms at Kimuyu Boys High School in Gatundu South, Kiambu County. The CS confirmed Gatundu South Sub-County is at 100% completion. Magoha further extended the school selection process for 10 more days during the tour.
Today we have started here in Gatundu South. We are very happy to announce that we are at 100%. I've visited this school many times, but I have only one or two things to emphasize this morning. One of them is that some schools in Kakamega are still sending children home over the weekend to go and look for money. Can the RDE Western ensure that the children of Mukumu High School are taken back to school immediately? If the school leader is very keen on getting money from parents, he has the power, together with my officers on the ground, to summon the Parent Teachers Association so that they are able to deal with the financial issues without interrupting the children's short period. The second point I want to say this morning is that we have done extremely well in terms of registering our children in grade 6 with regards to selection. And we are also human because we have interfered with some dates. We were supposed to start at a particular date and we started late. We have also had hiccups, and we are also going to have hiccups on Monday in some areas. Therefore, as a government, we have decided to extend the final extension for the school selection process. I think it's better to take it up to, we give them another 10 days.
New Nyandarua Governor Kiare Bandilisha has kicked off his official duties as the head of the county by visiting a potato cold store that is under construction in the outskirts of Olkalau town. KRA inspected the construction work of the project. The county boss further welcomed the national government's ongoing support, noting that a similar facility may be required in Kinangop sub-county to help farmers reduce post-harvest losses that occur due to lack of storage facilities.
Mradi ni mradi wa authority yetu ambao tunajenga kwa niaba ya serikali kuu, alafu tutaukabidhi kwa serikali ya county ili waweze kusaidia wakulima wa viazi kuweza kuangalia mazao yao yasiharibike sana wakimaliza kuyapata kwa mashamba. So hapa kutakuwa na cold room ambayo itakuwa inaweza kubeba kama tani 200 ya viazi ambayo itaweza kuhifadhiwa vizuri ili isiharibike hata kabla hawajapata soko.
Leo tumekutana hapa Orokarau kuangalia mradi huu wa kutengeneza cold storage ya kuweza kuhifadhi baadhi ya vitu ambazo zinaweza kuharibika haraka kama vile viazi, boga, carrot na matunda. Na mradi huu umekuwa ukijengwa na institution hii ya Micro and Small Enterprise Authority kupitia chairman wake Bwana Murei wako hapa, na tunataka kushukuru vile wamefanya kazi hiyo kwa haraka. Tumeangalia mradi na ni kama uko tayari, jengo lenyewe liko tayari, tunabakisha tu ile kuweka the equipment.
And barely 2 days after governors were ushered in office, doctors in Kericho County are on the spot after Kericho Governor Dr. Eric Mutai issued a notice to doctors employed by the county over what he says they spend most of their time in their private facilities instead in the public facilities where they are mandated to deliver their services, to work in public hospitals but spend most of their time in their private facilities.
It is the first day in office for most governors in the country who were sworn in on Thursday this week. Kericho Governor Dr. Eric Mutai assumed his office responsibilities today with a warning to county doctors who spend most of their time in their private hospital other than serving in the public hospital. While speaking at the county headquarters during an interaction and introduction exercise, which was also attended by the outgoing governor Paul Chepkwon and his deputy Lily Ngok, Mutai said the doctors should follow the Workers Act law, adding that his government will not condone any incompetence in the health sector.
We want our doctors to be at their facilities. We want the nurses to be there as required by the Workers Act.
He ordered the county chief pharmacists to come up with reports stating why there are no drugs in public facilities, saying health is the key sector in economy and they will work on increasing allocation to the department.
Chief pharmacist, we want a report from you as to why we don't have drugs in our facilities. Get more budget to that health. In your desk, in your office as early as 8 a.m. Sounds out. And stay until break.
The governor assured the county employees that their jobs are safe, further ordering them to be in their various offices from 8 a.m., cover all the working hours, adding that those who will not comply will face consequences. Patrick Oduor, KUTV, Kericho.
And Lagdera member of National Assembly Abdikadir Hussein has raised concerns over the worsening drought situation in Lagdera sub-county in Garissa County. The MP now called on both county and national governments to prioritize water in his constituency as one of the measures to cushion the adverse effect of drought in the area.
Lagdera sub-county in Garissa is one of the areas that suffer from acute shortage of water. Numerous efforts to sink boreholes have not yielded many results. Either leaders and residents have time and again held demonstrations to lament about the issue, pointing a finger of blame at the government for doing little to address the problem. The newly elected MP for Lagdera, Abdikadir Hussein, has raised concern over the worrying conditions fearing possible loss of lives if urgent measures are not taken to reach the people.
Lakdera kuna ila ukosefu wa maji. Kuna ukosefu wa maji. 70% wa Lakdera today hawana maji. Mimi nauliza wewe ufanye kazi uanze vile ungeweza kusaidia Lakdera. Na pia national government pia wasikie. County commissioner yuko hapa, I'm sure you get the report every day.
According to Hussein, the residents are forced to trek long distances in search of water for domestic use and for the animals, a condition he termed as unfortunate considering the existence of the two sets of governments. He, however, remained optimistic that the incoming government will be on their forefront to find solution to the issue, which has remained a campaign tool for politicians and a thorn in the flesh of the residents.
Kitu moja ambayo nikiongeza kwamba Gavana Nadhif umeanza kazi. You hit the ground running. That's good.
Two main solutions that have been offered by various leaders include building mega dams and drilling more boreholes. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
And that story takes me for my second commercial break here at KUTV. And when we come back with sports news, stay tuned.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits, the road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane, keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Welcome back. And Manchester United registered their second victory of the season under the tutelage of Erik ten Hag in the English top tier after their 1-0 against Southampton at St Mary's Stadium. Bruno Fernandes, 50